Hey everybody, welcome. I am Eco Builder in the HEX community. Wow, I need to get a candle back in here so that I can do the green candle thing again. We got the prices down at the bottom of the screen. HEX is 0.003, so a little bit less than a third of a penny. And PHEX, wait a minute, am I saying that right? Third of a penny. HEX is a penny. PHEX, I got PHEX wrong, right? No. Okay, PHEX is a penny, 1.4 pennies, almost 1.5. And ink is mid $2. Pulse is at SAC, half of what SAC was. And Pulse X is at a third of what SAC was. So I'm doing a live stream right now because I've got a new subscriber over there on meetup.com, and I thought I'd do a video and send it out to everybody on meetup.com, that whole group, because when you're an organizer, not only are you paying fees, but you have the capability of getting into everybody's email, so you can just mass send out a notification of what's going on. So I like to just send out, like, the title being this evening's video, really easy, and I'm hoping to only take like 20 minutes or less, because I got some food being made at the Asian food store right up the street from me, and over at the pizzeria right next door to that, I picked up this beer. So I'm drinking a Tups Day of the Dead Juicy Pale Ale. I think, let's see, I don't know where Tups is out of. Where are you out of, Tups? McKinney, Texas. I think that's right outside of Dallas. So welcome, everybody. I'm cracking this open. I drank a little bit last night. It was my buddy's birthday yesterday, and he's one of my onboards. He said that he's put in about 10,000 into crypto, and I told him, the way things are right now, you should have your bags packed, ready for this next bull. Because whenever he was getting all the birthday cards together, whenever they were there at the end of the party, we were down in the park, so they were having to wrap up and clean up and everything as the evening started getting dark. I whipped out my wallet and threw down $150, and he just looked at me and he was like, "I'm not going to put that into crypto." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't expect you to, man." And then we started talking about, I hope you have your bags packed. I don't expect you to put more in right now. Talking about, typically I talk about, like, with the HEX people, liquid versus staked. I always want people to have a stake coming out every 6 months, because that's what you can do with HEX. For 15 years, you can stake out. And the reason why you want to stake out is to earn the interest, earn your portion of the inflation that naturally happens in the system, but also to have it to where you've got a plan, and that you're not just freaking out and selling whenever something goes wonky, whenever you get freaked out. Now, have it out every 6 months so that you don't get caught off guard in the way that your life fits with your finances. Like, we got a guy who used to brag about how big his wallet is. He even called it the dream account. And then he got arrested in a foreign country, didn't have the finances on him or in his bank account, and the only thing he had access to were those stakes. And so he started having to emergency in stake those, delete those. And so like whenever he made those stakes, it might have been like $5,000, but when he deleted the stake, the only thing he could get out of it was 1,000 or 2,000 each. So I hope that explains a little bit of something. Where are we in the HEX community? Well, we started out on Ethereum. We went up to 50 cents. On the way to 50 cents, we recognized that Ethereum didn't want to play our game, didn't want to be our blockchain, and they raised the fees on us. So our founder, Richard Hart, said he was going to create his own blockchain in order to protect this thing. So when he did that, it was a fork of Ethereum, and therefore we got copies from Ethereum. From what we had on Ethereum, we got copies over to Pulse Chain. That's what the other chain's called. And it's up and running. There were all sorts of naysayers that said, yeah, if Richard actually comes out and does this, he's done everything. He's followed through with everything. And now at the end of this month, we have a court date. Like the exact end of this month, we have a court date coming up. So some of the wise ones of us, after years of seeing the HEX price, we recognize that there are going to be some people who are going to do the whole buy the rumors, sell the news situation with this court date. So me personally, I don't really know what to expect besides a dip between now and that court date. Now, on the far side of that court date, what comes from that court date, we might have it to where, okay, so first of all, during the court date, nothing's going to be decided. It's going to be later on that things will be announced. So there's, I guess the best thing that can happen is that we look good, that Richard looks good, him and his 12 lawyers who are the best lawyers in the world for this sort of thing, look good to where we can continue to tell people, evangelize for this HEX thing. I'm over here in Georgetown, Texas. I'm always open to you guys coming up from Austin. Maybe you're in Round Rock. We got some Hexicans in Austin and Round Rock and everything. Some of the people in Austin are teaching courses. You might be interested in that sort of thing. I can introduce you to everybody in the HEX community. And then there's a broader community that is the Pulse Chain community, because when that new blockchain was created, then all sorts of other projects were launched on that blockchain, as well as the migration of a few projects from Ethereum. And what else? So let's see. Down here at the bottom of the screen, I've got the EHEX, which is the Ethereum hex, and then I've got the PHEX, which is the Pulse Chain hex, and then the Pulse Chain coin, and then the Pulse X coin, and then the Ink coin. So Pulse X is our coin for our exchange on Pulse Chain, and the Ink coin is the incentive token if it is that you put money into the Pulse X pools and are earning, from the exchanges there. You can also earn the tokens that you put into the pools rather than the incentive token. um, so HEX has been going on for, let's see, almost 5 years. This December, it'll be 5 years old. And, Bitcoin's only been what? Shoot, I don't even know, like 13 years or something. There's all sorts of arguments on like what is the best cryptocurrency. If you can just create another currency, why is it that I should invest in a certain one? I heard Doge is good. I heard Shiba's good. I heard uh, Cardano, um, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Like, what is it that you should decide, right? And let me tell you, we inside HEX, we follow the leader, Richard Hart. RichardHart.com is his website. And he is an entrepreneur who is paving away. He's blazing away. And whenever it is that we interpret what it is that he advises, or that he uh, the way that he paves, because he's got so much evergreen content out there for you to follow and learn crypto from. You don't get burnt when you follow him. That's what's really cool. And you can actually have peace of mind when you're a part of HEX and that you're staked. You can actually sleep at night. So that's why we have the court date, is because he's in this long process of making crypto better. And he's also standing up to a bunch of people who are shitheads inside of crypto. And, crypto, it being cryptic, there's all sorts of narratives of who's who and what's what, and people being able to stay behind the scenes. Like example, who is Satoshi Nakamoto, with the whole Bitcoin creation. Oh, by the way, if you've got HBO Max, you can check out a documentary about like, who is this guy, Satoshi? Because the guy's been able to stay anonymous. I never have seen it, but my buddy mentioned it last night at the birthday party, and he saw it kind of in passing. So it might be worth something to check out, but it's a part of the culture. That's why I mention it. But what I wanted to say is the argument for HEX is that we've got Pulse Chain as our main chain, and we've got HEX as a layer 2 token. And our argument inside of HEX is that this layer 2 is all wrapped up and complete. No more editing will be done to HEX. It's this system that you interact with, this honest system, this honest staking system. And in the blockchain, you can see everything going on. And our argument is that this layer 2 is the most secure way to store value. So Bitcoin, it's had its bugs. Ethereum is capable of being edited. Pulse Chain's capable of being edited. Cardano continues to be edited, but HEX crypto contract is a layer 2 that is just a contract that is not editable. And that is our argument for what is the best store of value. If you just Google HEX, you might find a lot of criticism. You'll also find one of the best logos ever made. I love it. It's this one right here over my shoulder. And real fast, this is what Richard Hart looks like. That's probably an image of him at the 2-year birthday party over in London. That's my understanding. I didn't go to it. And the webpage that I just pulled these numbers from is called gopulse.com. Our main website for HEX is hex.com, HEX.com. You can imagine that website domain cost a pretty penny. I think it was something like $3 million. I'm not sure. Now, Richard has been around crypto for a while. The story goes, he grew up in Florida and he retired in his 20s. And then he didn't see a use case for Bitcoin until he saw that people were using it on the Silk Road, the dark side of the internet, to do transactions. There are websites on the internet where you can just send money, and the honorable people on the other side of that will send you illegal things, like marijuana, for instance. So that's definitely a use case, right? And so Richard started mining Bitcoin with a computer. He created himself as a node in order to uphold the system of Bitcoin. And so he's got a lot of Bitcoin still. And he's also got a lot of Ethereum. And even though the idea is everybody in crypto keeps their amount of crypto secret, their value secret, but yet exemplifies their knowledge. You can just judge like how in depth in crypto somebody is based on their knowledge that they're giving you about crypto. Even though all of this, people still want to poo-poo this guy. They still want to try to slash him down, and I guess it's so that they can try to get a leg up on socially. Whatever. Academiaciated is in the comments saying evening all. Evening. And whenever it is that you're trying to find crypto information, there's people on YouTube who are influencers who a lot of them are only here for a time period, and a lot of them have like really bad lifestyle choices and just life choices. I mean, look at BitBoy Crypto, for example. His business was destroyed. He had it all set up wrong. He started having an affair with his secretary or his assistant, and tried to come out in public and say that he was going to stay with his wife, but then went straight to his mistress. And then he goes and launches a coin and dumps it right on his followers' heads in order to get himself some spending money so that he could still live a better lifestyle as he's getting sued and having his business taken away from him and has to start up a whole new thing. Like, these guys, their lives are shit. So you're going to run into that in crypto. So that's over there on YouTube, and there are good people on YouTube. I mean, I'm sitting here on YouTube. And then there's people over on Twitter, and Twitter's a dumpster fire. Twitter, you're really not going to know who these people are, and they'll be in some voice chats, which are the Twitter Spaces, and and you don't want dead air on those Twitter Spaces, so it's just a bunch of people just filling the air, and you're going to talk about what's in the topic up at the top, whatever title of room that you're in. Ooh, that's telling me that my food is ready. So they're going to talk about the title, and whatever that is probably the new thing that brings people into the room based on the title. And so they've always got something to shill you. And there's always something new because it's so easy to launch a new ticker. So lately, the ticker has been these Pokemon things. I have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with this stuff. I'm also not the Pokemon generation. I'm just older than the Power Rangers. So I don't really know, like, maybe I'm Ninja Turtles. I'm not sure. And I don't advise drinking either. It's just that I drank last night, and you know how that stuff is. You're like, "Oh, well, I did it to myself, or I cheated last night. Why not just cheat 2 times in a row and then quit?" Yeah. Here in my community, I send out business cards to people. I get involved with the postcards effort. We get donations and then spend every dime on sending out postcards to people's addresses to introduce them to HEX. I've done a lot of things, but I'm 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 unique because I've been here from the beginning. I've seen all the little stages of HEX. Now, I haven't seen Richard pre-HEX. Well, actually, I did. Yeah. I saw Richard whenever Bitcoin hit 20K, that Christmas time period of 20K. And that was whenever I first bought some Bitcoin and tried to figure out why it was that people weren't staying in Bitcoin and were selling it off. Like, people were going straight into the stable coins, which are the ones that's pegged to a dollar. Back then, I think it was just Tether. USDT is the ticker for that. And so it's able to just peg at a dollar, meaning whenever it's paired up, a trading pair with other cryptos, then people are able to maintain their value. If it is that they think that crypto is going to go down, they quickly trade into that stable. And so the best plays, is if somebody rides up a bull market and gets into a stable and then allows the crypto to fall in value to the bottom of a bull market. I mean, a bear market, bottom of a bear market. I always misspeak the two B words. And then buy in again in order to multiply their holdings. So yeah, this is just me explaining some stuff to some possible newbies that are over in the Austin meetup group, meetup.com. I call it crypto dividends, I believe. So the dividends that I'm pinpointing here, the dividends are the portion of the inflation that you get when you stake HEX, and then all of these tokens that give free tokens, all of these token organizations that give free tokens to the people who operate HEX in order to immediately have users. And so they attach themselves to something that's successful. And an example of that is the communist token and the Hedron token. You spell Hedron Hedron. And so I think it's hedron.pro is their official website. In the past, I often told people to go to hex.pink in order to figure out like how the staking mechanism works with HEX, in order to, like enter in some values to see how much you could get out, and enter in the amount of time that you're willing to do without the thing, to stake it. Well, I think hex.pink in this bear market, I think it went down. And so I would like to tell people that stakehex.today is a good website. Hexdailystats.com is a good website. Hexscout.com is another good one. And then if you go to hex.com and you go down to the bottom, I think is where you can find a link that says links. So it brings you to like a links page, and then you can see all these YouTubers who are featured, and maybe even Twitter handles are on there. Hexologist is one of the YouTubers that you'll see there. He's a high energy guy who some years he did a daily show, and that really kept people involved. Really a good guy over in Idaho, Boise. Ex-Marine, went to Iraq. Good guy. But yeah, on that links page, then you can find other websites that are recommended. And the interest that you can be earning is really high up there. At like just staking a year, you could get like 12%. And if you stake like 15 years, you could get 38% per year. So imagine that. And the way that we keep track of the interest that you earn, we call it shares. And right now, the shares are so readily available that we speak in terms of trillions of shares. But in the future, we'll speak in terms of billions of shares and millions of shares in order just to communicate. But everybody in our community understands what a trillion shares is. That's the terminology that we're using, T-shares. And that's a way that you can calculate how much interest you earn per day, because whenever it is that other stakers have to cancel a stake, then the penalties go to the people who are continued to stake. And you're able to stake as many days as you want, up to 15.2 years. It's just the way that the code is written. So you decide to the exact decimal how much hex you want to stake, and you decide how many days, specifically days. There's one time period in the day that there's a day rollover, and that's actually right now. It's either in a few minutes or it happens at the last hour, but it's somewhere in there, like 5 or 6 o'clock for us here in Austin, Texas. And another thing that I wanted to say is that we're staking hex and we're earning hex. So when you unstake your HEX, you get your principal back and you get the interest in HEX. And therefore, we're just talking in terms of HEX. Imagine if you had staked Bitcoin and you were earning Bitcoin, and then you unstaked Bitcoin, and now you have your principal plus your interest all in Bitcoin. Well, that's the way it is in HEX. And I need to say that because people need to understand that we're not talking about dollar values here. The dollar values for these cryptos go up and down. And so in the time period that you have something staked, maybe the price goes up and you wish you had it unstaked. So that's a part of the game theory. Maybe the price goes down and you think to yourself, well, good thing I'm earning interest because gosh, if I had it right now, I wish I would have sold it prior, but I'm able to possibly sleep at night because I know that I'm earning in the back. Now, if you have them staked every 6 months, if you have a ladder going out every 6 months with these equally divided stakes, you always have something to look forward to, and you always have it to where the thing's working for you. You have, if it's every 6 months for 15 years, you have 30 total stakes or 29 stakes. You have tons of these little machines that are just constantly adding up this hex that you can get to here in the future. And that's how I feel. I've got it coming out every spring and fall. And I think that's the best option. That way you don't have to read the future market. It's just, what is it to you when it comes to you? And apply it to your life and your family. I'm just a single guy right now. So I've got it pretty good. The only thing I wish I had was 20 years less on my life, like you get it. I wish it was 20 years earlier in my life. Can't buy time. Hey, Crypto Wonders in the chat, checking in. That's another guy who's like, give me 40 years. All right, y'all. I think that I've explained this pretty good to the folks that I'm going to pass this video to, and then also my alarm went off for some Asian food. So I'm going to go get that, have another swig of the beer. I hope everybody's well. I hope your bags are packed. I hope everybody's, I don't know, content. I was about to say confident. Of course, we're confident. But I hope you're content with where you're at. And if y'all need anything, please don't be afraid to reach out. Like I said, I've been here for a long time, so I kind of have assessed what people have to offer. So I might be able to connect you with some folks who can serve you. Okay, cheers.